Welcome to episode 5 of Autoofftopic. I'm your host, Andrew, and joining me as always to help with hosting duties is Brad.
Good afternoon, Andrew.
So how you doing?
Excellent. Recovering from Thanksgiving?
Yeah, week after Thanksgiving.
Excellent.
Did you have a good Thanksgiving?
I did.
Yeah, we had a nice Thanksgiving.
That promoted our show to my family.
Yes.
And I don't know if they listen or not, but hey.
I had a nice dinner. It was a great day.
Yep.
Nice, relaxing.
Very relaxing.
Corrections omissions this week? None.
I do have one small one my father told me.
Oh, you do? Okay.
Yeah. We talked about the Honda automatic motorcycles.
Yep.
He told me they never did a Goldwing automatic.
Okay.
And they did a Honda-matic transmission from 74 to 75.
Mm-hmm.
And nobody bought it. And they tried it one more time in the late 79 or 80 with the Honda 400 Honda-matic. And again, only a couple of years it lasted.
I remember seeing one that was like cafe'd. It was kind of cool, like probably 5 years ago.
Yep. It's a weird bike to ride, though.
Yeah,
because I haven't ridden one, but I'm sure it's like a moped.
Because I'm sure that they're just so cheap because nobody probably wants them.
Nobody wanted them, yep. And they still don't want them.
No.
So that's the only correction. I like correction, but maybe more information.
Project car updates. I've got nothing. Everything's put away and currently operating as designed.
Excellent.
So that's always good.
I have a big one.
Yeah.
The long dormant Starion that we've talked about a few times started and ran today.
Which is posted to the
There is a
Autoofftopic
video,
page.
yes.
Is a video.
Yeah. Very happy. Very productive day.
Yeah.
I was bringing a seat down to the car tomorrow because the interior is out of it to put floors in it. I'm going to bring the seat down from the garage to where the car is parked and drive it around the block. Actually, drive it in the driveway because it doesn't have plates on it.
Mm-hmm.
So, drive around the block, make sure everything else is...
Well, it's a dead-end street.
Yeah.
In Mexico.
Right. We're not going to get into that. It's going to go a distance that is reasonable from its parking spot.
Yeah.
To make sure everything else is functional and ready to go before I start finishing the bodywork. It needs some patch panel still and stuff I think we've talked about before. Mm-hmm. But the thing cranked over pretty quick.
Yeah.
And it fired right up, and it idles nice and smooth. And I blew a bunch of rat droppings out of the tailpipe. And it's good. Good to go.
Yeah, because it had... so you put the fuel pressure regulator in it.
I put the new fuel pressure regulator in it.
New used one.
Yep.
That's good.
And I reinstalled all the ignition parts that I had robbed off of it while it was parked for the 87 Starion that I used to have. The Conquest, I should say.
Yeah.
Because that car developed a skip, and I stole all the ignition parts off of that car because I knew it ran. Mm-hmm. And at the time, I think I was broke. Mm-hmm. So I replaced all those parts, and the car's been sitting for like 3 years.
Yeah.
Which is bad owner. Was a project that stalled. So I'm getting it back into it, and hopefully it'll be on the road momentarily.
It started so easy.
So easy.
Even with like old gas.
So easy.
That's good.
Yeah,
That's real good.
Very good. I'm very happy. I did put stable in it when I parked it.
Okay.
I don't know how long stable lasts for, but apparently 3 years.
Yeah.
So that's good. That's a big project car update. The other small update was I picked up the snow tires today for the wife's Saab. Haven't installed them yet, so it's not much of an update, but they are currently in the enormous hatch of the Saab 9000.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yep. Ready for snow.
I'm not ready for snow because the tires aren't on the car yet, but it is what it is.
It's been pretty warm.
Yeah.
It was like 50 degrees today, 60 degrees.
But rainy and awful.
Yeah.
So that's it for project car updates.
Yep. So I watched the episode 2 of the Grand Tour.
I don't want to spend too much time on this. It's been covered to death by other podcasts for our podcast listeners that listen to other podcasts.
Yeah.
I mean, it
was really fucking boring.
I don't want to say it was boring, but it quickly went from an exciting first episode.
It wore on you real fast.
It fell into it just felt like old Top Gear, and nothing was new. And, I mean, the episode didn't have a lot of, I don't know, it seemed kind of repetitive. I enjoyed parts that I know you didn't enjoy, and you enjoyed parts that I didn't enjoy.
Well, the point was, it was supposed to be the movie Edge of Tomorrow,
which I haven't seen, so that probably doesn't help.
Yeah, which is a really good movie actually for a Tom Cruise movie. You know,
he gets a bum rap.
He does. He does. It's a really good action movie, but the whole point of the movie is that it he replays the day. It's like Groundhog Day meets Saving Private
True
Ryan.
Lies.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's interesting. It's a good sci-fi movie. But anyways, that's what they're trying to go for, and then it dragged on for way too long.
It was way too long. I mean, I chuckled a few times.
Yeah, a couple times.
But overall, it
It's
didn't land. It didn't land. Now I know that you are a big fan of the Mike Skinner driving the car.
Yeah, I think he's hilarious.
I cannot stand Mike Skinner driving the car. I am so sick and tired of the stupid American jokes. And, I've always hated redneck humor and, like, the Jeff Foxworthy humor.
It's not
and
Jeff
to
Foxworthy
me, it's the
type
same
humor.
thing. It's
No,
the
it's
same
not.
thing. It's the typical, this car is a communist car because it doesn't have a V8 and it's not this and it's not that. And I don't know. I just don't. I don't understand it. I don't get it. The show is losing me quickly.
I thought it was funnier than the other stuff, but
I liked the first episode. The second episode, it fell kind of flat. I'll still watch it because it's car content and it's pretty.
yeah. And
But I'm not as excited about it as I was.
I feel like it's okay to criticize it because it's not free. Like if you have
That's
a Prime
true, we're paying
account,
for it.
you're paying for it.
Yeah.
So it's not like this is free content on the internet that we're complaining about. No, we're technically paying for it. So
You don't criticize free content on the internet? I think you do. Maybe less vocally and publicly, but we do.
Maybe.
Yeah.
And then it was like
We appreciate free content on the
Yeah, we
internet,
do.
But we still got to criticize it if it's bad.
yeah, and the
Please criticize us if we're bad.
but it definitely feels like Amazon wrote way too big a check, and
They just
sometimes
wanted to spend the money instead of
sometimes
writing script.
a smaller budget makes you more creative. But whatever. That's
Well,
my humble opinion.
The Avatar problem. They had
Yeah.
millions of dollars to make a cool computer-generated movie, and they forgot to write a story.
I've never seen it.
Oh
Never
my god,
bothered.
it's not good.
Just didn't bother.
I might have offended some people just now, but I don't like that movie at all.
Whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
James Cameron's got a lot of good movies.
He
that
does.
One,
That's
that one is
one
not one of them.
No. Again, it's the same, but it's the same problem. They had a ton of money. They spent it all on this fancy animation and making it look really pretty, and then they didn't write a movie behind it. So,
Whatever.
yep. Moving on.
That brings us to the next thing that has related to Grand Gear Top Tour.
Confusion. Yes. Okay. Grand Gear. I like it. Yeah.
Drive Tribe, which I don't know.
I don't know
another
either.
thing that they apparently spent a ton of money on. It seems interesting. Nobody's quite sure what to do with it yet. I don't
It's
think.
hard to generate interest on something like that where it's hard to post interesting things. They're not making it easy to use.
No.
It's seems like a picture heavy thing, not a lot of videos or writing. It's just going to be like Instagram
Apparently, you
for
can
cars.
post like articles. You have to go through the
But a link to an
studio.
article?
No, you can go through the studio and like build little articles, kind of like Kinja.
I think they should tell us what to do.
It's not.
If they tell us what to do, maybe people will be more interested in using it. I was excited the first day because like, oh, a cool place for car people to hang out. And I was like, wait a second, we already have Facebook. Which, while I don't like Facebook, is a pretty good source for car content.
It's sort of like a mixture of Facebook and Instagram
Without,
with some like Kinja thrown in, but it's just for car people, like nothing else.
yeah, I don't know. I made a few pages, as you made a few pages. We have one for the podcast.
We do. So if you're on there, you can go find our. I don't think it's public yet because I only have like 7 people. So if you want to help us out and make it public, you need like 10 people to
I
make
think
it
it's 10
tribe
whole
public.
people, yeah.
Yeah, I need 10 whole people. So
Which I don't know how you're supposed to get 10 people if it's not public
you share the link
with other people who are involved.
on Facebook and stuff. So it's.
But not everybody can go there yet because you need to be invited
But
still.
what's funny is I just have on the website I just typed in Mitsubishi just to search Mitsubishi. It does come up probably because it has Mitsubishi's in it. I don't know why it came up, but it did. Or no, it didn't. The other page I made, the Mitsubishi apologist page.
Yeah.
That one comes up.
I played with it for the first day. I made a few pages. I'm going to be honest with you. I haven't really gone back on it.
Which my apologist page went public pretty quickly.
Okay. That's cool.
There's
I think I'm on it.
So there's that one. There are links on Facebook. We put up to those. Our friend Jordan, who has an Xterra, does a lot of off-roading. He made an Xterra tribe.
And that one's public too, I think.
Yep, that one went public pretty fast.
Yeah.
That was cool. there's a strong following for those
I
trucks.
guess it's one of those things that we'll have a discussion about it once it becomes something.
It went. So we got early access codes last week, and we were kind of playing with it. I guess it went live Monday.
Oh, it's 100% live now?
Yeah.
Okay.
So they had some sort of live launch online, but I'm working on Monday, so it's like I didn't watch it.
Yeah, I didn't even know about it.
No, so it exists. It's there. We'll see what happens.
We'll follow along the Drive Tribe, see if it goes anywhere. I'm not 100% confident that it will, because you have to. Basically, right now, all it is just reshared content from other places where you can see it. So if you're on, say, an Xterra page on Facebook or on Instagram, you're already going to see the picture that somebody's sharing on the Drive Tribe. So it's going to be a lot of repetitive information. If it can become a go-to place for car stuff, great. I don't know.
I assume Amazon paid
I miss
for
magazines. It was so simple.
Yeah, I know. I know. I thought it was actually. I mean, when they first started advertising, I thought it was a joke, some weird British humor joke, because it seems so odd. But
that's odd. It's an odd name too.
But apparently, it's real.
Yeah. Well, hey, we're trying it. We'll see how it goes. Again, car content, any content is good stuff. So let's go for it.
Mm-hmm. Which brings us to what we wanted to talk about this week, and that's social media and the car scene in general.
Don't say car scene.
Why not?
Because it's not a car scene.
It's not a car scene?
It's not a scene.
What's a scene?
I don't know, but it's not a scene. It's
a car scene?
You're a car enthusiast.
Okay, car enthusiast.
You belong to a group of car enthusiasts.
That's like I don't like gearhead or petrolhead or anything like that. I like enthusiasts. Just say
we're
car
enthusiasts. Yeah. It's not a scene.
All right.
There's no game.
Fine.
That's the worst.
Scene is your trigger word.
Oh, it's up there. Yeah. Craigslist ad. I'm getting out of the Honda game. Anybody want to buy my Civic? No, there's no game. You don't win or lose. In fact, you automatically lose every time you play this game. If it was a game. So no, it's the car enthusiast. I guess you can call it scene this way. Maybe I'm wrong, but I just don't like the word scene.
Okay.
I hear it too much.
All right.
It comes from my Volkswagen kid background.
Yeah.
Scene kids.
It's like hearing moist.
Whatever.
But we had a listener, Tom Prestone, kind of touched on it and when we asked for listener questions. And I was kind of thinking about talking about this anyways, but he basically asked, has it hurt the car scene? But I'm going to rephrase the question as, has it hurt?
Scene again.
Hurt or helped, the car enthusiasts. And I think, if we just roll back social media and just say the internet, I think it helped. It certainly helped me meet more people who are into cars. I probably only know like 10 people in real life.
I think that it has,
internet.
For serious car people, like serious car enthusiasts, people like you or I, or you or me, that eat, sleep, breathe cars all day, every day. I think it's helped.
Mm-hmm.
I think what it's hurt is people who are casually into it. Maybe the guy who has, say, I don't want to say Subaru because that's going to ruffle too many feathers.
Stereotype.
So maybe the guy who has a Volkswagen Golf and he goes online and he sees what everybody else has done and says, oh, I can do exactly what everybody else has done because it's cool, apparently. Not because he likes it, not because he wants to do it, just because he wants to be accepted. I think that has kind of gone too far.
Basically, wasn't Vortex like the biggest forum?
It was the Volkswagen Vortex was the biggest forum for a long time.
It might still be. I don't know.
I don't know.
And then maybe Subaru was second. So
no idea. But what I'm saying, I think what I'm trying to say is, it made it too easy to spread bad ideas. I mean, if it wasn't for the internet, how many cars would you have out there with? I don't know. And again, bad ideas are my opinion of bad ideas. Cars that are so low they're not usable. This is a tough one because personal opinion is strong.
It helps spread trends faster, I guess.
Yeah.
Whether they're good or bad trends, it helps them spread faster.
And I guess, pre-internet and,
pre-internet, you had magazines were the gatekeepers to trends. So you had, cars that were, and it depended where the magazines were based out of.
Yep.
So if magazines were based out of Southern California and they were doing photo shoots on cars in Southern California,
That's what you saw.
that's what you saw, and eventually that trend was going to spread across across the country.
Which I guess when I think back to pre-internet time, we had the Wings West Honda body kits, which wasn't a good time. The Invader body kits and the cheap fiberglass body kit
that
time.
came out of some weird. There were some like cheesy magazines.
Yeah, and I think that was pre-internet. So maybe the internet hasn't been all.
It was real early, and that came from like Fast and the Furious type stuff.
No, I'm talking pre-Fast and the Furious.
Pre-Fast and the Furious.
Yeah, I mean Fast and the Furious.
I guess
was like
that did exist. Yes, before
Fast and the Furious was the end of that era. Really, I think when that first movie came out, it was really starting to become passé.
Yeah,
I think it made it more mainstream for a little bit, and then that mainstream killed it.
Well, you look at, my favorite magazine, rest in peace, Sport Compact Car.
It was a good magazine most of the time.
It was a very good magazine, especially early on in the early 2000s.
Even in the mid-90s, like 96, 97.
Yeah.
They had a lot of, Type R, Integra content, and Turbo Eclipse content, and there was a lot of mechanical content.
Yeah, and they were like cleanly built cars, but they were built with a purpose.
Yep. They did have a lot of body kits.
Yeah.
And if you look through one of those 90s to early 2000 sport compact cars, the advertisements tell a lot about that era of car tuning or car modifications.
Mm-hmm.
Because, advertisers pay the bills, so they're going to, whoever wants to go in there can go in there. But it was, neon carpets and, again, fiberglass body kits and wheels that, I don't know, are trendy at the time and are just very dated now. I guess everything can be dated, but I don't know. Car trends are bad. I just don't like car trends.
No? You
No.
don't even like the JDM trend is still fine.
I don't like it.
The I'm doing air quotes, the JDM trend, which is just basically kind of like I guess OEM Plus is similar.
It was based on the race car style, and it kind of went beyond that. So they all have fender flares and external oil coolers. That particular scene, the Shakotan.
Oh no! I mean like
that scene. Ugh.
No, I mean like the way you would see an Integra built in the early 2000s, where it would just have a clean set of like T37s on it, like 15-inch T37s or 16s, all one color.
See, I feel that was a little later.
Full interior. I think that was like mid 2000s.
Yeah, mid 2000s, not like 99 2000, because there's still wild body kits and chrome wheels then.
I think so.
Yeah, I think it's more like
kind of went out.
Yeah, more like 04, 05, 06 when I started getting the clean,
like
track looking builds.
The Nopey stuff.
Yeah, and APC. Ugh.
Yeah. And
no good.
HIN, which still exists
somehow,
but that kind of morphed into these stance cars.
The stance is a word, again, much like the other words, that I don't like as a descriptor for one kind of thing.
Yeah.
I was brought up by a muscle car guy.
Yeah.
And one of the things that all the muscle car and hot rod guys have always said is there are two things that make or break every car: a wheel and tire combo, and the stance of the car. And when they said stance, they didn't mean cut springs and 13 degrees of camber. They meant stance, as in how the car sat, period. Every car had a different stance, and the purposeful stance was depending on what that car could do. That's what I hate about the word stance. It's used now for cars that can't do anything but sit in a parking lot and look pretty. Mm-hmm. Which, if that's your thing, that's your thing. But again, I don't like car trends. And that's a trend, and I don't like it.
Nope, I still do. I still lower my cars just enough to get rid of the wheel gap.
Yeah, it makes it look a lot better before it looks broken.
Yep.
Now, on that same note, I love a late 50s, early 60s car that's just stuffed on the ground and undrivable. So maybe I'm a hypocrite. Mm-hmm. But those cars weren't meant to be driven hard anyway.
Yeah.
So low and slow is fine if the car started off tall and slow.
Mm-hmm.
I think is how it is. Give me a Volkswagen Beetle stuff on the ground. Love it. Give me a Honda Civic with 13 degrees of camber, and I do not like it. So I don't know. It's a personal opinion. This whole conversation is personal opinion. Mm-hmm. And not everybody's going to agree with everybody. And nobody's going to agree with me because it's mine. So I don't like the word stance.
No.
Going back to the topic.
Yeah. What were we? So it was kind of like I'm trying to remember. I think email groups for cars were a little bit before my time because I didn't have my license really till like 2002.
Yep.
or 2001, and then it was sort of, there was Yahoo groups, which I know our local DSM club is old enough that
Started as a
it
Yahoo
started
group.
as a Yahoo group, I believe. Right? It may have even started as we'll get corrected on this. It may have even started as an email group, and then I think it became a Yahoo group, and then it became a forum,
The bulletin board style.
the bulletin board style forum, which for a long time was that was your standard. That's what you went.
Yeah.
You bought a car, and then you joined the forums for that car, or you joined. Then there became forums for genres of cars, like Japanese nostalgia car forums.
Right, which is still my favorite.
Yep. And I want to say that forums were good. I mean, they were kind of the top thing from like probably the early 2000s, like 2002, let's say,
Until very recently.
till like 2012. And then,
maybe even a little after that.
and the thing is that they were the best part about a forum is that you could search it and you could find old information.
Yeah.
And people would fact check you.
Yep.
And now the problem is Facebook groups. People just ask the same questions over and over again, like every couple weeks.
Right.
Like
we were talking about the Gallant forum the other day.
In the Gallant Facebook group, the Gallant VR4 Facebook
Gallant
group,
VR4 Facebook
it's
group.
it's almost like clockwork. Every couple weeks, somebody asks how many of these cars are left.
Right.
And if you go on the forums, which are still pretty active, there's a list.
Yeah, registry.
There's a registry
Yeah.
of what cars are still around and who has them. So it's just like, it's kind of frustrating. And then you get people who are just don't want to do any research on their own
Just want to ask.
and just ask.
Yep.
Be an asshole.
Which used to be a bad thing.
Yeah.
In the forum, heavy
Yeah.
forum days.
Yeah.
If you asked a question without searching first, you were pretty much lambasted immediately by everybody.
Yeah. To search, you noob.
Yeah, exactly.
Because, I mean, all the information exists. Just got to find it.
Well, thankfully, everything that's on the internet stays on the internet. So there's a way to get it. Because there's a lot of good information on a lot of those forums that aren't active anymore.
I know. It's sad when you're looking up stuff and you're like, oh, the last post was 2012 or 2011 or 2008.
Pictures are outdated and
Yeah,
the links are
the
dead.
links are broken. You're like, oh. But, I mean, I guess that's a real problem. I mean, but the other...
It became a shift to instant gratification somehow.
Yeah.
Facebook was quick. Everybody went to Facebook.
And then you do end up with things where there may not have been enough people to have, for instance, a Montero owners forum, but
I believe there were.
Yeah, maybe, but it seems like it did better as a Facebook group, and it seems to do better as a Facebook group, which is there's a Mitsubishi Montero Owners USA group.
Yeah, which is actually full of worldwide members.
Yeah, for World War, yeah, and it's a very active group with a lot of really smart people that know a lot about Monteros and related vehicles.
A lot of those people came from the 4x4 wire forums.
Exactly.
Which was a general 4x4 forum, but there was a Montero section.
Yeah, and there was sub-forums of Monteros.
Yeah.
So that's kind of a shame that forums have gone away.
But then the same thing for older vehicles. Maybe it's because the crowd around them is an older crowd.
That's true.
But, I have a bunch of old Colts, and the classic Colt forum is still very active. And there's still tons of experts on there constantly posting about it. And actually, you want to talk about old owners, the NSU Yahoo group is still active.
Oh, boy.
So I still get posts or emails from my Yahoo groups that there's a new post about a car for sale.
Account.
Yeah, exactly. Which the only thing on there is my NSU group anymore. But you need to know those people, so if you own an obscure car like an NSU, you have to go where the people are. And they haven't organized it and made a forum, but they have a Yahoo group still.
Well, I remember that was a big thing when I got my Subaru, when I had my STI. It was like, oh, you got to go join NASDAQ.
Yep.
And,
or at the time, Boston Motorsports Forum.
Oh, yeah.
Remember
Boston
that?
Motorsports.
Yeah.
There was that. And there was a Massachusetts one. What was it called?
The more South Shore based one?
No, it was like Western Mass.
It was like Chicopee, that area.
Yeah, Mass something. It's not Mass Tuning. That's a totally different
Nope, that's a Facebook page, which is actually a forum too, but nobody goes there because it's all on Facebook.
Yeah, that is a entertaining Facebook group.
We're going to be nice.
Just say it's entertaining.
It's gotten a lot better.
Okay.
It's been a lot more moderated than it used to be.
All right.
And bad content is usually taken down pretty quickly.
Yeah.
The thing I dislike most about the Facebook car groups, the general car groups, like a Mass Tuning will say, to pick them out of the crowd here, is there's not a lot of technical conversation. There's not a lot of help conversations. It's way too many people who are.
Look at me. Look what I have.
And that's why I think that the internet has been bad for the casual car enthusiast.
Instant gratification thing.
Yeah, it's made more people who are building a car for.
It's for the likes. You got to get the likes.
Yeah, the internet
fame,
notoriety, the
Instagram fame.
Yeah, exactly.
We'll get to
that's
that.
why it's bad. But anyway, I think there's too many threads, or can you call them threads in Facebook?
Yeah,
Like
I call them
threads. So there's too many.
I don't know what to call it.
Yeah, I don't know what to call it either. Old man Andrew and old man Brad. Don't know what to say. There's too many Facebook threads where it's just, here's a picture of my car next to a lake. Let's see everybody's cars next to a lake. Not, here's a cool post about what I've done to my car this weekend. Just take a picture of your car here.
Yeah, I mean, build threads are
Gone.
I don't know if they're gone. You just got to find them now. But that was a really enjoyable thing.
Yep.
To either have a build thread or to look at somebody's
And
build
then there was
thread.
the buildthreads.com, which kind of aggregated all the cool build threads from the internet into one place, which was awesome.
We should probably post a link to. Well, the bike is sold now, but Joe's Cafe Racer that we sold on Vine.
Yep. Actually, right before we started recording, I got a text message from the very happy new owner.
Yeah.
That he got the bike.
Jump off this for a second, but we should
sorry.
put that has a really neat build thread.
Yep.
Is basically what my point is. To see what that bike went from and what it ended up as.
Andrew's called auto off topic. I can go off topic.
Yeah, that's true. That's kind of why I called it that. You proved it.
Yep.
Where was I with the? But yeah, Facebook groups. There are some good ones though.
Oh, absolutely. We were talking about the Montero one just a minute ago. It's excellent.
Then there's just fun, like ridiculous ones that are very specific. Yeah, jail cars.
That was started by Bradley Brownell, right? I think so.
Or I thought it was Cam.
One of them. One of the guys from the Camden Tub.
I feel like Cam coined it, but
one of the guys from the Camden Tub
will
podcast.
get corrected.
Yep, listen to them. They're awesome.
And then there's Why You Ruin Classic.
Also one of their groups.
Yep. And then I think one of their listeners did the I Love Sundown Stripes, which any vehicle that has sundown stripes.
Sundown stripes are the 80s, like, gradient yellow, orange, red stripes down the side of a car. Which don't have to be yellow, orange, red. There's some that are, like, three-tone blue.
Yep.
But that gradient three-color usually stripe, like the Toyota racing colors,
Yep.
are a good kind of sundown stripe.
And then what else is a good one?
Brown Car Appreciation Society.
That's probably a big one. That's probably one of the biggest.
Yep. BCAS.
Because cars are just not really in brown very often anymore.
And it's not for tan cars. It's for brown cars.
Brown cars.
Don't post a tan car there. You will get made fun of. It has to be brown.
And what's the other one? I don't belong to this one, but is it Visit Vehicles I See in Traffic?
Vehicles I See in Traffic. Yeah, that one has some haters.
Yeah,
and some likers, obviously. There's some people on there that are very opinionated, and it's driven some people away.
Yeah,
I still post there because there's some cool content, and it's just fun to have that casual. Hey, these cars still exist. I haven't seen one of those in 30 years.
Yeah. But so Facebook's kind of taken over car stuff. I mean, they definitely. It was when people were trying to sell stuff in Facebook groups. It was really difficult. So at least Facebook kind of updated and has those
and
for sale.
most of those Facebook groups have started a second group for specifically selling things,
and they seem to work okay.
Yeah, they work pretty well.
I mean, I think you had a problem with someone.
There's a lot of trust has to be involved in it.
Yeah, it's not as. Yeah. Forums were a little bit easier to do for sales stuff because you could see how long somebody had been posting there, and
there's usually a good guy, bad guy thread.
Mm-hmm, exactly, and so that was, it's kind of a negative for Facebook. But I think the thing is that it's on your phone, it's accessible everywhere, and that's why
it's easier to get to than
a
forum.
Easier than a forum.
It's just that, like we've both said, instant gratification.
Yep.
You can, waiting in line for your morning coffee. You can just be there on your phone looking at your Facebook threads.
Do you remember? Do you remember Car Domain?
I do, unfortunately, remember Car Domain. I didn't have a Car Domain.
I think I did.
Yeah,
a long time ago. I think I tried to.
I don't think I had a digital camera yet when that was still the thing to do.
Yeah, it just didn't work that well.
That's unfortunately, and I don't mean to be negative. I think that's where Drive Tribe is headed. Yeah. Because it's a program that's there just for one specific niche. It's a car themed thing. I mean, Facebook wouldn't exist if it was just for cars. Mm-hmm. Facebook is for everything. If you're a wine enthusiast, there's a Facebook group for you.
It's true.
You know, so it's very easy to have updates and to have the software constantly updated, I should say, to make it usable all the time and to fix bugs. And I just don't think that there's going to be enough interest in a drive tribe. Much like Car Domain kind of went away because
We'll see.
there was only so much going on.
We'll see.
Maybe it didn't. Maybe Car Domain went the way of the forum because of Facebook too. Who knows? There's really no right or wrong answer. I think that life was better in some aspects before the internet got into cars. But at the same time, as a car enthusiast now, when
Especially who likes old, weird cars and you need to find parts.
that's what I'm saying. As far as a car enthusiast now, as far as networking goes, I think it's the best time to be a car enthusiast.
Mm-hmm.
And even today, when I was, scratching my head, like I know the firing order of the car, but I couldn't remember which post on the radiator cap, the distributor cap, was the number one.
Mm-hmm.
So, pulled up the phone, looked up the internet, there it was.
Mm.
So,
Yeah.
it's good. It's a good time to be a car enthusiast.
Yeah. I mean, I think I still find, I enjoy looking at Oppo, Opposite Lock on Kinja. That's pretty good.
I forget to look there because it's not Facebook.
Yeah, it's not as convenient,
Yep.
and it's easier to look at on a computer.
On an actual computer.
On an actual computer,
I don't sit behind a computer very often.
It's a good one. It's definitely a good one. It's nicely curated. A lot of people, they don't let it get out of control.
Right.
People color out and shit. So
Well, because in order to be on there, too, you have to be dedicated to taking pictures and typing something up about it. You can't just throw a picture on and leave it and go. There's usually got to be something behind it.
yeah,
or
so
it'll
it's a
get
little
lost.
better. It's
Yeah.
a little higher quality. So definitely enjoyable. But I mean, as far as social media stuff goes, and especially, I mean, I just curate my own stuff just so it's mostly cars because it's just easier to deal with than
Yep.
all the other crap that's going on.
Hey, you can take out stuff you're not interested in.
Yeah, so that's why I particularly like Instagram right now. I find that to be the most enjoyable for looking up car stuff and just following.
As far as just pretty pictures of cars go.
Yeah, and
Not for any technical information of anything.
no, but people do put build stuff on there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you can follow along builds on there, absolutely.
Definitely, and there's a lot of model car content on there.
Which is good to have. Because
Yeah.
model cars are definitely a very solo hobby. So it's something you can get caught into doing all by
There's
yourself.
tons of like diecast stuff.
Yep, which I love.
But it's like, I never really wanted Facebook to be for car stuff.
It just kind of happened.
It just kind of happened, just because you ended up. It's funny. You end up meeting. We met a lot of people through the SCCA, especially when we started rallycrossing and autocrossing, and then you ended up just kind of connecting with them online
over time.
So I think I've mostly cultivated my entire feed is almost always car stuff.
And if you post not car stuff, you've probably been not blocked, but unfollowed. Especially if you don't follow along with political beliefs.
Well, whatever.
But that's our prerogative.
Yeah, I mean,
My
you
page.
make it what you want.
Yep.
So that's what it is.
Yeah, I laugh. I'll sit there with Deb, my wife, and it'll be, both of us will be on our Facebook page, and she'll be scrolling through hers. Oh, look at these kids. Look at this family. Look at this. And mine is entirely pictures of cars. Not one picture of anybody's family at all.
Barely.
Unless one of my car friends posts a picture of their family. And it's usually a car in the background.
Mm-hmm.
So it's definitely cultivated that way as well. And it makes the experience more enjoyable. I'm not going to go on there and get angry very often about somebody's bad opinion on something because it's not there. I don't see it. I see cars.
No.
I smile. I see a car. I smile. It's pretty easy.
I try sometimes if somebody has some weird technical question about a car, I try to answer it.
If we know it.
If I know it.
Yeah. Not going to give bad information either.
Sometimes, though, I'm just like, I see it, and I just keep scrolling.
I don't have time for this.
I'm like, I don't have time to keep going back.
Anybody got time for that?
Just sometimes you just like move on.
Well, it's like that conversation we had with our friend today about somebody in his family who is asking advice about a car and then not taking the advice. And then we were like, well, how do you help that person? You can't help that person anymore.
Yeah, there's quite a few people that do that.
Yeah. They can ask you all they want, but if they're not going to listen to you,
no,
it ain't worth it.
But, well, anyway.
So as a closing of that statement, I think the internet has made the car enthusiast world smaller and better.
Yes.
And we wouldn't exist as a podcast if it wasn't for the internet, obviously. There'd be
Nope.
no way to get a podcast out
Nope.
there.
There wouldn't be. We wouldn't know half the people that we know.
Nope. And my business wouldn't be a business.
Nope.
It's too much. There's too much good to overpower the bad, so I don't think it's bad.
You're just like the couple of car people you knew in your neighborhood.
Which wasn't bad.
Which wasn't bad, to knowing like way more people and being able to find people that had your specific tastes.
Correct. We're going to get into questions later on in the podcast, listener questions. And one of the questions was asked by a friend of the podcast, Noah Zimmerman.
Yeah.
I've never personally met Noah. We chat all the time on the internet because we both love old Dodge Colts.
Yep.
I would be very bored in my own little corner of the world if I didn't have the internet to talk about Dodge Colts with other people, because there are probably 7 of us left.
Well, you own a Galant VR4 too, and your name is Brad.
Yep.
And we have another friend who is Brad who owns a Galant VR4.
Yeah.
So it's a very small club.
It's a very small club. 2 Brads.
2 Brads.
However, I would know Brad if it wasn't for the internet.
It's true.
Because Brad used to buy parts.
That's true.
From me when I worked at the Mitsubishi dealer.
But we know people in the Pacific Northwest that are into Mitsubishis.
In fact, when I was on my honeymoon, this is kind of a cool internet story.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
Yeah, I got married in April. We took our honeymoon. We flew to Seattle, rented a car, and drove down the entire West Coast all the way to Arizona. Great trip. I highly recommend it to anybody to do it. The coastal route highway, especially. Just make sure you plan your stops better than we did, because there's a long distances with nothing there. Other than that, it was great. But what I want to say about this is I had some friends that are into Mitsubishis that I know strictly from the internet who invited us out to dinner because I'd posted that I was going to be out there. And, and my wife was like, you've met this guy? Nope, never met him.
Nope.
So we're going to talk about cars all night? I was like, well, he's bringing his wife, so you'll be fine.
Yeah.
Is she into cars? Nope. Perfect.
Nope.
So,
we meet someone from the internet?
Yeah.
Yeah,
but
why not? They're into cars. How bad could they be? They're into the same exact car that I'm into?
Exactly.
They can't be a murderer.
Yeah.
They're not a serial killer. There's no way. That's too
I was like,
specific.
he's married with a daughter.
Can you're a serial killer of owners of Galants? Like, come on, that doesn't exist.
Yeah, well, he's an owner of Snaragans and Conquests.
Okay.
But nonetheless,
that'd be a very narrow serial killer.
It would be. But, I mean, if I was a serial killer, I'd be nervous to go out there and visit him, I guess, because maybe he would be a serial killer. But anyway, he lived in Portland, and he took us to all the Portland hotspots. It was great. We had a great time. A couple of his friends came out. We've become friends with all of them now on Facebook, and we see all their updates. And so we can go to Portland, Oregon anytime we want, and we know we got a friend waiting to hang out and have a good time. Plus, we got to see spots we never would have seen if we were on our own. We never would have gone to the same restaurants.
Yeah, now you're reminding me of a bunch of things. We go on and on, all the people we met.
Yeah.
All the
Jordan.
Dirty Impreza.
Yep.
All the people from dirtyimpreza.com.
Yep.
The owner and his wife.
They live in California.
They live in California. Yep. Like, we met up with them in Arizona, went to the Prescott rally back in 2010.
Right.
Because it was his first stage rally. He was running it. It was awesome.
Well, the owner of Japanese Italchi Car, Ben, I talk to him on a regular basis. I've seen him a few times. It's just it's a very small world, and if people are into the same thing as you, generally you're probably gonna get along. You're at least gonna have something to start the conversation off.
Yeah.
And then it can just go from there.
Yeah. And
when I was out in Portland, we started talking about cars. By the end of the night, we were talking about our kids, talking about life in general, talking about whatever, because it just opened the door to new friendships, that basic common interest. So.
All right, well, let's move on because we're getting a little long here.
That's a good topic.
Yeah, it is
Thank
a good
you, Tom,
topic.
for that question.
Yeah,
it really kind of pushed us to that topic.
So, moving on. Anything else going on as far as cars or you said you delivered the bike or got delivered?
It got delivered, yeah. The guy picked it up. The transport company picked it up.
That was the first official sale, right?
Yep, yeah, first delivery for Vine. That's a good thing.
Let's see how much else going on. We were both. So we talked about last week. We talked about model cars.
We'll touch on it quickly this week because that kind of a lot of people probably weren't into that wicked heavily.
No, but we decided to each build the same kit.
Yep,
and we posted it up.
Evo 3.
Yep, Fujimi Evo 3. I think we're both pretty far along, actually, because it was a
very
long
far
weekend.
along, yeah.
I had nothing to do. I just kind of hung out in the house.
The day after Thanksgiving is a great day to build a ball
the whole weekend after Thanksgiving. Just kind of built a bunch of stuff. And we'll post up some more pictures of that. It's a bit of a tricky kit.
Yeah, it's not as nice as I hoped.
I thought it would be a lot nicer. Some flashing on the parts.
I've built 2 other versions of it. This is the Evo 3. Mm-hmm. I've built the Evo 5 and the Evo 6, which are based on the same kit.
Yeah.
I think that's part of the reason the kit has so much flash, is because a lot of the parts are used over and over and over again for different kits. They get the molds get worn out.
Yeah. I was excited, though, because I got to use Zero Paints and an airbrush on it for the first time, which Zero Paints is a really fancy paint from England.
And they're custom mixed to the actual Mitsubishi color.
So it's really nerdy. So it's actual color A31, which is Apex Silver, because I bought it. I have an Evo 10 kit to build to match my Evo 10 that I had, the 2008. But I decided to try it out on the Evo 3 because you could get the car in silver. It looks pretty good, I think. I just got to clear coat it. And then I'm adding some. I didn't like the wheels that came in the kit because they're staggered.
No, they look goofy. Yeah,
and it's weird. You don't stagger wheels on an
all-wheel drive. Yeah,
so, but they're just like kit wheels. Whatever. I'll use them on something else that's rear-wheel drive.
They're like a Miata kit or something.
Yeah, but I had on my shelf. I had an Aeroshima box of wheels. You could buy. Aeroshima sells aftermarket wheels.
Yeah, all the model cars do. Yeah,
they're actually branded TE37s.
Yep, the 14-inch ones.
14-inch ones. But it's funny because the wheels and the kit are supposed to be like a scale 17 or something, maybe. I don't know. But whatever. They work really well in the kit. I was putting the decals on them, though, and I was trying to use a little bit of a microsol, which is a product to soften up the decals and make them
fit better.
Set
down better.
And they do crinkle decals, but usually decals are strong enough. It wrinkles and they dry and flatten, and these just like wrinkled up and disintegrated, which kind of sucks.
Oops.
But there's aftermarket ones. I can get separate ones, so for like real cheap, I just got to order them and I can replace the decals.
There are pictures of this build again on the Auto Off Topic Facebook page, so you can see what he's talking about.
Yeah, my Instagram and Auto Off Topic Instagram.
Yep, which we'll give all those at the end.
So
I'm building the same kit, doing mine as the Evo 3 RS.
Yeah.
So I'll have the black mirrors, black door handles, and I'm looking for an appropriate set of steel wheels. Because the RSs came with steel wheels versus alloys because they were the competition ready. Rally ready.
Yeah, so mine will be more like the GSR, but
yep.
Whatever. So that was a fun build. Hopefully we'll finish those, and then maybe we'll pick another kit to build.
Yeah, it's kind of fun.
I kind of like the idea of building the same kit at the same time is kind of fun.
It kind of pushes you along.
So we'll figure that out, and maybe some more people, if they're interested, they can build along. But all right, we're at about 42 minutes. Let's do some listener questions.
Sure. We got quite a few of them, actually.
We did get quite a few of them. Posted on my page.
I was surprised by the amount of content we got. So I'm happy with it.
Yeah. No, it was fun. Just trying to
please
pull them up here.
Keep adding more and more questions. That's
So question number 1 from our local friend Matt Sullivan, is a hot dog a sandwich?
Yes, moving on.
Yeah, definitely. Okay.
2 pieces of bread, even if it's connected
2 pieces of bread, 1 meat.
Sandwich.
Sandwich.
Okay. Moving
Done.
on. I think he got that from another podcast. I heard that question asked the other day somewhere. They said no, but I disagreed then. So now that it's our podcast, I'm going to say yes.
Yeah. So another friend of ours, Joe Osborne, is it worth living in a world with only autonomous cars?
Absolutely not.
If you're thinking about committing suicide, don't.
Oh, no. Yeah, we're not condoning suicide, but that is the one scenario where I would commit suicide.
I don't think that will ever. Well, it's happening. There will be autonomous cars, but I think analog cars.
I don't think it'll ever be our only option.
And my definition of an analog car is any car you have to drive yourself. Technically, that's an analog car because the interface between you and the car is analog.
Right.
You're moving the steering wheel and touching the pedals, so that's analog. That's my definition.
Well, I think an analog car also can't have too many assists. It
Maybe.
Can't have braking assists.
Maybe.
But
technically, it's a car that you can drive yourself.
This question can get really deep.
It could get really deep.
Yeah.
But I think you are going to get autonomous cars. They are coming. But hopefully, we've seen a lot of new racetracks being built.
Right. I think in our lifetime, it'll never be an option to only have that.
No.
So we'll always have the option to keep our manually controlled automobile.
Or there'll be places to use them, or they'll maybe in the future they'll segregate the highways. They'll have half the highway will be autonomous,
which is fine.
Won't.
Yeah,
perfect.
Whatever they want to do.
Yep. All right. Number 3. Noah Zimmerman asks, can electric cars and bikes ever be as cool as internal combustion cars and bikes? I don't know. I've never ridden. I've only ridden a gas motorcycle once for the class. I rode a Rebel 250, so that wasn't really like an amazing bike.
Well, no, but if it's not like a car, I mean, it's
Yeah.
the engine, the visceral sound, the feel, the vibration, everything in the car and the bike is going to be gone.
I mean,
electric.
Those electric bikes seem kind of cool, though.
I don't think they'll ever be the same.
No.
They can be cool, but it will never be the same. You know, I come from a place where I am already nostalgic for old cars. Mm-hmm. I don't do a lot with new cars. I mean, the newest car, I did have that Evo for a short period of time, but most of the time I wind up driving cars that are 25, 30 years old every day. So I already don't like new cars. I can't imagine loving an electric car. Mm-hmm. I can imagine having one as daily transportation. I don't think it'll ever be cool. I mean, it's cool, just not the same kind of cool.
Tesla is definitely interesting to me.
It's interesting. The technology is cool. The performance is certainly cool. Mm-hmm. I just don't think it's cool.
The commute I have every day, I would love semi-autonomous, where I could just let it just run and just brake for me because it's only like 40-mile-an-hour traffic or less. That would be very convenient. I would like that.
But you can do that. It's called a train.
Train's terrible around here.
I know, but I don't know.
They don't work that well.
I think that we're also not talking about autonomous cars. We're talking about electric cars.
Well, the Tesla's an electric and it has autonomy stuff, so it's kind of a crossover there. But the other thing too, the very first episode of not to go back to Grand Tour, but they had those hybrid supercars.
Those are electric cars. They're still internal combustion engines.
That's true.
They still spit flames on
true.
diesel.
But I mean, I could certainly get behind high performance hybrids like that.
100%.
And eventually that should trickle down eventually.
Yeah, I'm sure it will. It already has. You can buy small electric motors. I mean, if you look at amateur electric car drag racing, there's some pretty ridiculously fast cars out there that guys have built in their garages. So, I mean, some of this technology has already trickled down.
It'll be interesting if they can make batteries that would last long enough to do like a 20-minute track session. That might be kind of fun.
I have an idea.
Yeah.
So you have an on-wheel electric motor that's adaptable to whatever car, so that you can continue to drive your 1968 Camaro around town, bubbling and burbling, with the big V8. And then when you get in the highway, you can switch to your electric motor that's attached to the wheel.
And then just save gas.
And then just not get 8 miles a gallon driving the highway.
Yeah, that might be fun.
I should have said that on the air now. No. I got to patent my idea.
Yeah. Now the men in black are going to come get you. Cause...
The OPEC men in black. Yeah. But no, I think that something like that I could get behind because it would enable us to continue to drive our old cars.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be a permanent change to the car. It would be an add-on. I would still have the experience of driving an internal combustion engine and making all its good noises when I wanted it to, and turning it off and rolling on that electric motor when I wanted to.
It's just nice to see that. I mean, the tech is getting better. I mean, in 2013, I was on Pikes Peak, and I got to watch the hill climb. The electric cars were pretty interesting.
Which I'm still jealous about.
Yeah. I mean, it was strange because they had to come up with sirens because you can't hear them.
Right.
And then they just sounded like giant RC cars.
Right.
But, I mean, that part is interesting where they don't lose any performance in altitude. So it's certainly interesting. And we'll see where it goes.
Anyway, so to answer the question, I don't think it'll ever be the same kind of cool. I think there's room for a cool electric car, but it will never, in my mind, replace the internal combustion engine as far as the experience goes.
Nope.
I need the sound. I need the feel. Mm-hmm. Smells.
All right.
Lung cancer.
Joe Stanley.
Smog.
I need advice on turning my Corolla into a desert rally car.
Right.
Or is it a dessert rally car?
Well, he spelled it dessert.
Okay.
But, Joe and I can talk about food all day and dessert all day.
I mean, I know we know Joe lives in the California area, so basically just drive off the road into the desert.
Right. Your car's already a rally car.
And then it's a rally car.
Yeah.
Done.
Maybe get some dirt tires and go in the dirt.
Yeah.
And don't even do that. Just drive in the dirt.
Just drive it.
Just have fun. Don't call us when you crash it.
Nope. Jordan Mellon. How can I prepare my Kia Rio for a water crossings? This is, well, first make sure it's a rental.
Correct. And white. Yep.
And
Make sure you have wine in the trunk.
you have wine, an open wine bottle, and then when you realize that you're stuck really bad, hide the wine bottle in the woods
In case the police show up.
In case the police show up.
This is based on a true story.
We will have to post some pictures of this.
Yeah, we were kind of just exploring in the woods in
It was Freetown State Forest.
Freetown State Forest in Massachusetts.
So it has some dirt roads,
Yep.
but a lot of Jeep people go there, and we took our trucks there, the Monteros and Jordan's Xterra, and it had rained in the early spring. It had rained quite a bit, and there was some deep. This road doesn't get maintained, so it kind of
it's a non-maintained public
becomes
way.
gullies,
Yep.
and they fill up with water. And apparently it wasn't their GPS. They were just exploring. They decided to turn down this
They
road.
were tourists from Italy
Yep.
that decided they were out like bird watching, I think you said.
I don't know what they were doing.
And they
Drinking wine, bird watching.
while driving their cars.
Yeah.
We do not encourage that. And he kept going, and he made it impressively far before they got to this particular mud puddle where they got stuck.
Easily a foot deep.
It was over the rockers and halfway up the seats. Now, a little backstory. We came around the corner, and there's a guy and a girl standing in the middle of the street. And he says, "Hey," in a very broken English accent, "can you help us? We're stuck."
Oh, sure.
Absolutely, whatever. We're not
be a
worried
truck.
about it. We're expecting to come around the corner and see a truck. Whenever we turned around the corner and we saw a Kia Rio half submerged in water, and full of water, because, the doors aren't sealed.
No.
So the whole interior of this rental car was full of mucky, brown, awful water. So anyway, long story short, I drove my truck into the puddle, which is tall enough. Actually, the puddle was so deep that my rockers were in the water.
Yeah.
I told him I will tow him out, but I am
Of a truck that has 8.5 inches from the pumpkin to the ground.
right.
So
I told him I will pull him out, but I'm not hooking his car up.
Yeah.
He has to get muddy because I didn't go out there and get stuck. He did. So he hooked up to the tow hook of the rental car, and I pulled him out. We'll
couldn't
put a
stop
picture
laughing.
up.
It was so funny.
It was pretty hysterical. So, and then we followed them the whole way back out to the street to make sure they didn't get stuck again. And I recommended that they either call the rental car company and take out the insurance policy retroactively, or they spend a lot of time cleaning the
Just
car or have it
vacuuming it out.
detailed. Yeah. Anyway, thank you, Jordan, for reminding us of that memory.
Tom Prestone, this question we kind of went over earlier. It was how social media destroyed the car scene. We covered that in depth earlier.
Yep.
And then he has a follow-up question, and can I drive your Galant? Sure. Why not?
You can try mine too when it's all done.
Yeah.
You can roll it down a hill right now.
And then our buddy Justin Hughes asks a smart-ass
From right
question.
foot down?
Right foot down.
Yep.
What is the airspeed velocity of an unladen swallow? Which the only counter to that is European or African. And then Justin flew off to the ether somewhere.
Yes. I don't know.
And then Brad Anderson asks,
That's the other Gallant owning
That's the
Brad
other
we
Brad.
spoke of earlier.
why is the river always too deep to ford?
Because he died of dysentery. Leave it alone.
Yeah, don't ford the river in Oregon Trail, I guess. And why did Bobby Joe drown? And
I do not know who Bobby Joe is. He stumped me on this one.
I had to Google it, so I said he jumped off the Tallahatchie Bridge.
I don't know who he is. I didn't Google it. I didn't prep. So, next question is from Gyro.
Yep. He asks, Gallo 12 or Gallo 24?
And we said, stop watching dumb old car movies.
I've never seen Too Fast, Too Furious, you buster.
I think that was from the first Fast and Furious.
No, it's the second one, because it's definitely not from the first one. I've seen the first one a bunch of times.
All right.
I've never seen anything past the first one. I don't care. Whatever. First one, I liked. We'll leave it at that. I thought it was a cool story. It's a cool movie. I have no desire to see the other ones.
I feel that you should watch them.
Maybe I should see the second one. No, not the second one. The third one.
No. I feel you should watch all of them.
I heard Tokyo Drift was all right.
It's not all right. It's terrible. They're all terrible. But I feel you should watch all of them because it's way more fun to make fun of them with somebody who's seen them all. You don't have to sit down and watch it seriously to watch the movie. You can bring your tablet downstairs while you're working on a model car and have it in the background.
I guess.
But until you've seen I don't remember what number it is because there's been 36 of them. But there's one where a bus is falling off a cliff, and as the bus is falling off a cliff, they're running up the side of the bus. So they're running faster uphill on the bus than the bus is falling down the cliff. And it's absolutely hysterical.
All right.
But that's why you should watch them.
Dmitry Opinski
fellow Mitsubishi fan.
Yep. Should I buy a Subaru? Should I buy a Subaru?
No.
I said only if you're interested in vaping.
Which is a terrible joke. I think he already owned a Subaru.
Yeah.
So I think he's just being a facetious Dimitri, which we're okay with. But he's a Mitsubishi guy, so we like him. He's also a rally guy.
Yep. Paul Saravia. Why don't they make all cars with HIDs and or LEDs now? Not much more expensive to make, and it's really a damn safety issue, particularly in poor weather. And I kind of answered this on Facebook. I think the tech is coming.
Yep.
Again, it's getting cheaper. It's starting in
Like
luxury
tech
cars.
does.
Yep, and it's kind of trickling down. I mean, we're seeing a lot more lower-end cars that have LED running lights, at least, and DRLs.
Yeah.
And they still have HIDs. HIDs got a lot cheaper.
But you still don't see them in everything. There's still cars that come with regular incandescent bulbs.
But
Or halogen bulbs. I think.
halogen, yeah. But it's coming now. It's coming. And, I mean, I definitely like the idea of LEDs. I had an interesting thing. It occurred to me, because LEDs don't really, the bulb doesn't put off much heat. The circuit boards do.
Yep.
So I was like, wait a minute. If I have LED headlights in snow, because your headlights are usually warm enough that
How
they
do
melt the snow.
Yeah.
But apparently, the way LED headlights are set up, and this probably doesn't work if you put retrofit ones in, the LED bulbs.
Right.
The way a proper LED housing is set up, it has a fan to cool the circuit boards. That fan circulates the warm air inside the lens to help melt the snow. So they've already thought about this. That was something.
Obviously, they have their engineers.
I know, but
we're not, and you thought of it.
I was like, wait a minute. So, yeah.
Well, I think it was mentioned in the answer on the post, but most of our cars might as well have flickering candles behind
Basically,
glass.
yeah.
I mean, early cars did, but I still feel like my daily driven 1980
even if
Colt
you
still does.
I know in the Talon, I've done the seal beam conversion. It definitely helps. Where you put the Hella 7-inch rectangles in there that you can actually put a
H4
modern bulb
behind.
in. I haven't done the Montero has 7-inch ones. I haven't put them in. Like, I have to get some and put them in.
Honestly, though, a good sealed beam bulb works fine.
Yeah, I could just put sealed beam silver stars in there. It would probably work.
I think a sealed beam, to me, is better than most composite lamps when they first came out, when they were plastic and they faded
yellow
over time, and those are just terrible.
Hopefully they've solved that problem.
Yeah, well, a lot of higher end cars have glass headlights. I remember my wife's old Volkswagen Jetta. You couldn't see anything at night. And now she drives that Saab 9000, which is older, and it has composite lamps, but they're a glass lens. So even though the car is...
Well, they're not composite, they're glass. Composite would be plastic.
That's more the style of the light, I think. It's called a composite light. A composite light and a sealed beam, those are two styles.
Yeah.
So...
Well, yeah, like Stephanie's Subaru, we had to polish up and sand.
Right.
So, anyway, Sean Gaudreau. Something about the death of manual transmissions. Is a faster shifting automatic really better?
No.
Well, if you're drag racing or something, I guess.
Even
if you have no soul. I don't know. It doesn't...
Never.
It's good for numbers on paper.
Yep.
It's
good for selling cars to people who don't care.
It certainly is. And there are some... there are some transmissions that are, I'm sure, really good. The only thing I've really driven with a twin clutch was the twin clutch Evo, the last generation Evo, and I did not like it at all.
Right.
Some people really liked it. I didn't like it at all because it had certain, in normal mode, you couldn't really feel it shift. And when you put it in sport mode and super sport mode, all it did was basically made it shift harder. It gave you shift shock.
Yeah.
And that's part of that's what makes CVTs so unappealing, is that they don't have shift
feel
shock.
the shift, yeah.
So it's kind of silly because I think they have to engineer shift shock into CVTs.
Well, my experience with that, again, I drive old cars, so it means nothing to me. Old automatics were god-awful.
They're fucking terrible.
Yeah, I mean, so I much prefer a manual transmission in an older car.
Yeah.
I did drive a E46 M3 with the SMG.
Oh.
Driving the car on the road, it was kind of cool and interesting, but I don't think I would ever shift it manually if it has an option for automatic, because it's kind of a hindrance at that point.
Yeah.
But what I really despised about it was slow speed maneuvering.
They feel really weird. They kind of like clunk.
Well, it's like there's a robot operating a foot clutch.
Yeah.
But he's not doing it when you want to do it.
Basically, it is. It's kind of like a servo or solenoid or something that...
I don't like it.
Depends on the setup.
And it was funny because I remember the first time I was pulling it into the body shop I used to work at, and all the guys in the shop were making fun of me because they thought I was like bucking a standard transmission car because you'd try to move it slowly and you hit the gas and the car wouldn't move. It would just rev the engine. And then finally it would engage, and it would engage hard. And on the smooth concrete surface in the shop, it would just spin the tires.
Yeah.
And it was super annoying.
Yeah.
You couldn't park it without the e-brake either because it's always in neutral.
Yeah.
So that's a failure point I don't like too.
I moved a GTR around the lot when I worked at a dealership. It was like the same way. You had to give it a lot of gas, and it would like clunk into gear and it would move.
Yeah, I don't like it.
And I remember,
Not enough control over the car.
I remember that my dad worked for a motor coach manufacturer. They were putting ZF transmissions in the buses because they were manual. They're basically automatics, but they're built on a manual gearbox because they were stronger, but they had all the solenoids and stuff to shift them, a lot like a twin clutch.
Well, I feel like in a big truck or a bus, it's more for reliability than anything else.
Exactly. But
because a manual transmission usually lasts longer.
But I don't know if people demanded manuals, maybe they wouldn't be going away. But that's the problem. People aren't demanding them, so they're going away.
Drive old cars. Be happy.
Yep. This came from Jeremy Nutt. He asks, what's your most embarrassing fail when diagnosing a car? Tell us about the most fun experience, PG-13, you ever had in a car. And then what YouTube channels should I be watching?
3-part question.
Yeah.
Well, Andrew, what's your most embarrassing thing when...
Well, I'll do the second part because it's quick. The most fun I've had is the Tail of the Dragon, driving that. That was pretty fun.
Most non-competition fun.
Yeah.
So I think I've had more fun.
Well, I just like
in rallycross, autocross.
I like
TSD.
the overall. We took a road trip down there. I like the overall road trip. That was really fun.
Yeah, it was a good time.
So that's my favorite one.
I will say that my fondest automotive memory is the, not fondest, but the most fun was probably that overnight Vermont rally in the Raider last year.
Oh,
I enjoyed that immensely, and I can't wait to do it again this year.
So my most embarrassing fail when diagnosing a car is, it's ongoing actually. It's in the garbage Montero. For some reason, it has a random no start.
I don't think that's embarrassing. I think that's a genuinely difficult problem to figure out. I think by embarrassing, Jerry means like you had a weird noise in your car and you replaced everything and it wound up being a loose bolt in the package tray in the back.
Okay, so in the Galant, I replaced the starter because the car wouldn't start. But on that car, there's apparently a very, very small rubber plug on the clutch pedal assembly. And when you push it in, this rubber plug pushes in the clutch switch. It allows you to start the car. But this rubber plug fell out of the clutch pedal. Instead of just having a flat piece of steel, it's a hole. So the clutch pedal pushed around the switch, basically. So the switch didn't get depressed. So the car wouldn't start. So I bump started the car, got it home, put a starter in it, did the same fucking thing.
It still wouldn't
start.
start.
What the hell? And then we realized that the button was this little rubber button that cost like 20 cents.
Switch, a clutch lockout switch.
Yeah, it wasn't pushing in the clutch lockout switch.
Oops.
Yeah, so now I actually when I bought the replacement rubber plug, I keep an extra one in the car in case it goes missing.
Excellent.
And because it's the same thing that's in the Talon, it's the same setup.
Excellent.
There's an embarrassing one.
I think that my most embarrassing one, despite the one what Jordan wrote a response there. I forget what that was.
That was the you were putting the crust of the back together and you put the.
Oh yeah. That wasn't diagnosis. That was embarrassing repair. I was just way too excited, moving way too fast, and trying to get done, and I torqued down the cam towers without thinking about what cylinder was at top dead center and where the cam was positioned. And I broke a bolt. Life goes on.
It happens.
Most embarrassing diagnosis. It would probably be the brown Colt because I had a weird noise in the front end, and I thought it was a wheel bearing. Mm-hmm. Even though it didn't really sound like a wheel bearing, I couldn't think how else it would be because I had just put brakes in the car, and I put a wheel bearing in it again, and the noise didn't go away.
Yeah.
and it turned out that the really cheap brakes that I just replaced wore out almost immediately, and I had no pad left, and it was pretty much metal on metal. So it was a weird noise that I couldn't figure out. And I was like, nope, it can't be the brakes because they're brand new. And for some reason, during the whole repair process, I never even looked at them. I just kind of went with it.
What YouTube channel should I be watching? There's someone I know who's local. The name of the YouTube channel is Michael Visual, and he does videos of
drag racing and
drifting.
Yep.
So that's a good one. I've been watching Joe Wrenches. It's a DSM guy. He's got first gen DSM, and I've been watching. I think it's Tuner Labs or something. He's another first gen DSM guy. I've just recently been watching.
Okay. I don't think I watched anything that's unknown. I mean, I know that I know Jeremy is already a big Roadkill fan, so I can't tell him to watch Roadkill. Mm-hmm. That's Roadkill, Petrolicious. That's stuff I watch, but it's nothing unknown. I don't think I have any. Mm-hmm. I don't have any insight into that.
And then, I guess that's good.
Any other questions, or is that it?
There's a couple other questions, but I mean, we can do this one. It's a real local question.
We should at least touch on everybody's question.
Yeah, Sean Gordeau asks, why do so many people in New Hampshire have vanity plates?
Yeah, because they're cheap.
Because they're cheap.
Yep.
There's like $70 a year, as opposed to, well, we live in Massachusetts, it's $70 a year, maybe even more now.
Yeah, it's $40 every 2 years, I think, in New Hampshire, isn't it?
Well, we checked.
It doesn't cost. It costs like $10 more than a regular plate.
We checked with Jordan; it was $40 a year because he's got a plate.
But it's like $10 more than a regular plate.
Yeah, exactly.
Whereas down here, it's like 3 times the price.
Yeah.
And down here, you renew your plates every 2 years, unless you have a vanity plate, then it's every year.
Yeah. So every 2 years, it's like $65 for a regular plate.
I don't even think it's that much. I don't remember.
Whatever. It's definitely way more for a vanity plate in Massachusetts. Yep. So
it's just not worth it. Plus, we only get 6 letters. Mm-hmm. So it's hard to come up with witty things in 6 letters, whereas New Hampshire gets 7 letters.
Yeah.
And also in Massachusetts, your vanity plate has to start with a letter. And once you've gone from letters to numbers, you can't go back to letters. Whereas in New Hampshire, you can switch back and forth.
Yeah.
So,
and
very local question.
Finally, David Kochi Jr., he was asking about the new Infinity variable displacement engine, how it works.
No idea.
We're going to have to save it for next week. I will look it up and figure out how it works.
That's a really deep technical question.
It sounds interesting, though. I will look it up.
It's very interesting.
I've vaguely heard of it. I haven't really looked into it yet.
To me, it doesn't affect my 30-year-old cars, so I don't know anything about it. I'm not trying to be a hipster with cars here, but I don't know anything about new cars. Sorry.
All right. So I think we're a little bit over an hour. So
excellent. Sounds good to me.
I'm going to wrap it up.
Sure thing.
Keep your cars analog. Analog.